In this video, we're going to continue to see how we can import objects and entire scenes from other software into Unreal Engine 5. In the previous video, we saw how we can export from Blender using the FBX format and the Alembic format. And we saw that we encountered some problems. So we can see now how we can fix them a little bit. And we're gonna see also later on how we can adjust everything at best. Now we will also see how we can use Datasmith exporter, and we're gonna make an example with SketchUp, but this is also available for other 3D software like Cinema 4D, Revit, 3ds, Maya, ArchiCAD, and so on. So we're gonna make an example with SketchUp on how to import or link directly using live link, so to synchronize the scenes. Now, the first thing I want to show here is this really simple scene where I have imported a couple of objects from, well, a chair and a girl here from the Twinmotion libraries. So this is also something that we did in the previous video. And these again are from Blender. So if I go here and set this to show collision, you can see I have set up some collisions. So usually when you use FBX, this is gonna be automatically generated. But if it's not, you need to create the collision yourself. And when you do the collisions, you can then also activate the physics simulation, which is kind of a animation. And it's really simple because all you need to do is select the object that you want to use as a physics object. So for example, in this case, it will be affected by the gravity force. So if I type here simulate on the property or details panel, you can see here I have checked this simulate physics on, and this is only possible once you set the collision. So I'm just gonna give you a quick demonstration right now, and then we will go through all the process. So if I press play, there you go. We can see the simulation happening there. So it's kind of an animation, but we don't need to animate anything. We just need to set that particular parameter right there. Okay, now let's go and see how we can fix some problems and also how we can use some really important commands and tools in Unreal Engine. So this one here was FBX, and if you right click with your mouse, you can access to different commands concerning the actor, which is in this case is a mesh actor. You can also access this menu going from the top menu here, right here. Now, if I right click this and I can go into I can browse this into the content browser first, if I don't remember where I've placed that. And you can see I've created a folder called FBX, and this is where I imported from Blender. And this is the material. And using FBX, I was able to import the static mesh right there. And again, we're gonna see some really handy commands and tips and tricks. For example, if you press F when you select an object, that's gonna zoom onto that object, and this is gonna make things easier to navigate around and set up collisions and things like that. So sometimes when you import FBX, you're gonna have like things which are really small or really big. So one quick way to fix that is to press the F to focus on that particular object, and you can see it looks beautiful already with the lightning, because this is, if we see here, we have nanite enabled, so it's generating the geometry and also the lumen, the illumination system, it's correct. So in this last version of Unreal Engine, we don't need to care about UV maps, but if we go here, we can check if this one has UV maps or for light maps, and it doesn't. So for those of you who were accustomed with previous version to use the light maps with a UV map, don't worry about that. We already talked about this. And if you see in the documentation of Unreal Engine 5, you don't actually need that if you use Lumen Lightning. Now, this is kind of a doll object that I've created in Blender. So if you want, you can check the Blender video course to see how you can model organic and soft poly modeling, and also do some sculpting. And this is the, again, mesh editor, which is really handy when you need to focus on some aspects of your mesh, of the mesh that you imported. You cannot do this type of modeling in Unreal Engine yet, but we do have some extra modeling tools in this new version that we're gonna see later. Now you can see here we can re-import, we can set up the collisions, we can check the UVs, which are the most important things, and also we can use level of details. But again, I believe that these are kind of not necessary right now because we're using Nanite, which is another like geometry generation system thing. And also we can see the material. So if I double click, this is the material. And when you use FBX, it's gonna import the material as well. So you shouldn't have any issue when you use FBX. Now remember that you need to go to plugins and search for FBX, and we are using right now the Datasmith FBX importer, which is really important for you to simplify this process of importing stuff. Now with the Alembic file, I had some extra issues. So you can see I have set up some really basic collisions. This is a capsule collision right there. So if you want to do that, in order to use collisions and also the physics simulation, well, I'm just gonna right click again and access these assets. So I'm gonna go to edit, and this is another doll again that I've modeled in Blender, and you can see that it's not visible here. Now why is not visible? Well, sometimes simply because it's too small or too big. So again, what I suggest you do is to press the F key, and there it is, but it's still pretty small. And if I zoom with my scroll wheel, I cannot go there because probably my camera is too fast. So this is something also you need to fix sometimes. So you go here, you decrease the camera speed, and then you can press F and then use the W key to get closer. And again, sometimes gets too fast. So another way you can manage the speed of the camera instead of going here every time is to, while you're moving and holding the right key because you need to move your view, is to use the scroll wheel. So if you move your scroll wheel, it's gonna slow down, and if you move it the other way, it's gonna speed up. So this is really handy when you need to change the speed without spending too much time there, going always there and changing. Okay, now, well, we're gonna see some other tricks later, but let's stay right now with this. So to add a collision here, which I didn't have when I imported this Alembic file, so I'm gonna remove the collision, and I can see now there is no collision right here. So to add a simple collision real quick, you can go here to collision, and you have these kind of basic collisions. So this is a spherical collision, and then you have some more complex like capsule, and you can continue to add collision on top of other collisions, so you can actually add more than one. So right now probably what I would do is to use this one here and maybe use this for the body, and you can see you can rotate, scale, adjust the various types here of collisions. So I'll try to scale this down, but since this is a really small asset, it's really difficult to do this. So I should work better with the scale. This is the bottom line. So don't bring objects that are too small or too big. Just try to find the correct scale when you export. But in this case, I'm just gonna go with something real simple. I'm gonna use the capsule collision, but you also have some extra tools here, which we're gonna explore later. Now, just to show you a quick way you can add this simple, you can move around, you can add more if you need more. So let's say that I want to add also here a sphere collision for the head and try to scale it down a little bit, but it's difficult right now because this is too small. So I'm just gonna keep it this way and save everything. There you go. Now once it's saved, you will see it also in the editor there, and well, you